the police of complacency in the war against illicit liquor. And the pursuit of freedom. Paul Mackenzie to know the fate of his bail application in March, even as the prosecution remains convinced that he is a flight risk. Thank you so much once again for joining us. Our sign language tonight is Brian Moraru. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Now, on to our top story. President William Ruto says that the government is committed to strengthening devolution to enhance service delivery to the citizens of the Republic of Kenya. He says that Kenya Kwanza administration is working with all governors, irrespective of their political affiliation. The anticipated county allocation increase hit a snag, with the executive calling on governors to give the executive time to steady the ship. JJ Kioria opens our coverage with that report.
On the second day of the cabinet retreat in Naivasha, members of the executive interacted with the representatives from the Council of Governors and the ruling UDA party. Following complaints over delayed disbursement of county allocation, President William Ruto defended government, reiterating his administration's support for devolution.
Devolution is not an invention of us. It is an invention of the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya decided that they wanted a government as close as possible to them. And let me repeat for the upteenth time that at a personal level and this administration, we support devolution 100%.
The head of state called on members of the executive to work closely with county governments in the execution of their mandate, saying it would be counterproductive to sideline them.
The reason why we asked the council to come and have a session with us as we have this national government executive retreat is because I wanted ministers here and their principal secretaries to understand that the counties are our partners. They are not our competitors. They are our partners. And there is a very big opportunity by us working with counties.
So maybe I urge us and urge our colleagues, because we're on the same side. When you see devolution, do not see Governor Waiguru. Don't see Governor Ahmed or Governor Sang. We are just holding office temporarily. See the reason why devolution was actually established.
While the Council of Governors and Senate have been pushing for an increase of a county allocation to 424 billion, the government says it is unable to meet the demand and will have to settle for a gradual increase.
Counties do not operate in a vacuum. Counties operate within the overall framework of the national government. So they had a desire of a certain figure, but it is all, as we said, we want to manage prudently, realistically, and within our means.
The government, however, says Kenya is already out of the economic quagmire and is on a recovery path witnessed by the shilling gaining against the dollar.
We must never be in the kind of situation that we have been in the last 2 years, where everybody in the world is waiting for us to go down. We must never find ourselves there. And that is why what Treasury did was very important. That even in the management of debt, they have now made sure that there will be no time that Kenya will be expected to pay $2 billion in one go.
There's strong evidence to show that economic recovery is with us. And that starts from the last quarter of 2023. And I did actually try to mention in area meetings that we have a growth of 5.6% in that quarter.
Tulikuwa changamoto ya deni, na mmeona vile waziri anafanya. Wiki iliyopita aliweza kulipa madeni yetu. Umeona kulipa tu madeni, shilingi yetu ambao tulikuwa tunapigiwa duru sababu shilingi imedhoofika na sijasikia nyinyi mkitusherehekea.
So as a ministry, we want to increase manufacturing, support the manufacturers, especially the local manufacturers, also increase exports. We will be ready to work with the country to look for markets for their produce so that we reduce dependence on inputs, and we are really energized.
Cabinet secretaries will individually be outlining their performance record for the past 1 year in accordance with performance contracts signed last year. Though the National Treasury says that the economy is on a recovery path, it looks like county governments will have to wait longer before they can get the 424 billion shillings they wanted as county revenue allocation. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Let's now look at the war on illicit brew. Members of Parliament are set to question the Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, over what they term as complacency by the law enforcement in stemming the manufacturing and trade of illicit brew. Speaking on the floor of the House, the legislators said that the latest death toll of 17 people in Kirinyaga could have been avoided had the police ensured strict adherence to regulations.
Members of Parliament allege that police have failed in the war against illicit brew.
And therefore, Honourable Speaker, the problem is not just a problem that we can point at the county governments in terms of licensing of bars. It begins with law enforcement by the police.
And he's saying that the licensing of bars is a function of county government. But Mr. Speaker, county governments license bars. They don't license illicit brews. They don't license changa. They don't license. This is an issue of enforcement of the law, Mr. Speaker.
Several police officers have been detained for allegedly selling illicit liquor that had been seized and stored as exhibit.
Could the chairperson provide a report regarding the status of investigations into deaths of the victims of the illicit brew in Kangai village, Kirinyaga County, in February 2024?
I am hoping that the chair, other than pointing fingers, will take this opportunity through the committee in charge of Interior to now draft a national government level legislation touching on the licensing of manufacturers of alcohol, because that will not be left to the county government.
We should extend the same to tighten our laws and actually our policies even in the licensing from the counties, and even a possibility of reverting some of the function to NACADA.
The Speaker of the National Assembly has directed the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security to secure a response from the Inspector General of Police by Tuesday next week.
And Honourable Speaker, the chair, as a person oversighting the police, must be emphatic in ensuring that his committee summons the Inspector General of Police to say what they are going to do to ensure that the police indeed do their work in enforcing the law as it is.
I've taken your guidance. We are going to communicate to get our response in record short time.
On Tuesday.
Meanwhile, police in Vihiga have arrested a notorious illicit brewer and impounded several liters of illicit liquor and chemicals used in the trade.
Ndiposa maafisa chano walifanya msako kali katika Chebukaya location, Chebukaya division, kwa sababu walipata habari ya kwamba kuna mtu ambaye anauza pombe kwa hali ya juu kwa wingi, jina yake anaitwa Atira.
Elsewhere, at least 100 people are expected to be charged in court after police in Kiambu arrested them for being involved in the sale and transport of illicit brew.
Manake community na wananchi kununguniziana habari, kupeana taarifa. Kuna watu ambao wanatumia unapata kwamba wanatumia chupa za zile kampuni ambazo ni nzuri kujaribu kutengeneza sumu yao, maneno yao.
In Meru County, Commissioner Jacob Ouma warned those dealing in the illicit trade that the law will catch up with them.
SEC, machifu, manaibu wa chifu, pamoja na area managers na nyumba 10 wakishirikiana karibu sana na maafisa wa polisi wameweka doria na kufanya misako ya kila siku kuhakikisha ya kwamba wanaogema pombe zile haramu wanakamatwa.
The Meru County Commissioners said they are carrying out random checks in the bars licensed to establish whether they are selling the allowed liquor. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
You know what? It's been very hot lately. In fact, the Kenya Meteorological Department is warning that the temperature in several parts of the county is bound to rise in the coming days. The high temperature being witnessed is attributed to the dominant dry winds commonly known as the northeasterlies emanating from the Arabian desert. However, nutritionists are urging Kenyans, you and me, to stay hydrated. That's one of the major remedies.
Jivanji Garden in Nairobi County. On a normal day, only a handful of people could be found here relaxing, but not in this particular day. A good number of people are seen entering the garden, running away from the scorching sun.
The climate ya saizi joto, I think it's because of global warming. It has affected the climate change. Na hii weather ya Nairobi venye iko saizi may change totally sika kitambo.
It is very hot. Yeah, and the only way to mitigate it is wearing lighter clothes.
The weathermen, however, warned that these harsh temperatures could worsen in the coming days across the country.
For your information, this is nothing new. This is what is expected in February all the time. We will give you a statement that guides Kenyans and everybody in the East African region on the weather we are expecting in the next 3 months.
The high temperatures have been attributed to the dominant dry winds, namely the northeasterlies emanating from Arabian desert and which contain dust particles that move in the atmosphere, causing heat circulation.
Going on.
Kenya Nutritionist and Dietitian Institute Chief Executive Officer David Okeyo cautioned of health implications in extreme cases.
Unusual low blood pressure, and this is because of the dilation of the arteries that carry the blood. So when the blood vessels open up, then the pressure goes down, and that can cause itchy skin also. It can also cause swollen feet.
As a coping mechanism, staying hydrated is important.
Hydration means you make your body hydrated with fluids, and that means you can take water. But apart from that, you can also eat foods that are high in water content, like watermelon, for example.
Opicha Chemtai for Prime Edition.
Embattled preacher Paul Mackenzie and 94 other co-accused will continue to remain in custody until the 5th of March, the year of the Lord 2024, when the High Court will give a ruling on his bail application. Elsewhere, a former employee of the Postal Corporation of Kenya has been jailed for 3 years for stealing 12 million shillings from the corporation. Details in the Scales of Justice segment.
The accused, who are facing 238 counts of manslaughter linked to the Shakahola massacre, will know their fate in 2 weeks' time. Prosecuting counsels urged the court to deny the accused bond, citing their flight risk.
You can envisage a situation where a person or persons are charged with 238 counts of manslaughter. And by that very fact, I do not need to belabor the point of the seriousness of the offense that is before this court.
However, defense lawyers led by Wycliffe Makasembo told Chief Magistrate Alex Itoko to disregard the state's submission since their clients are suffering and are even on a hunger strike.
The hunger strike they're talking about was triggered by the state when they charged them or placed them before your brother Honorable Shikanda without any formal charging. They had to go on strike to know why they were in court, why they were being detained. So it is the state that provoked them.
The case will be mentioned on 5th March 2024.
Meanwhile, Joseph Harris Kipchoge will cool his heels in prison for stealing 12 million shillings from the Postal Corporation of Kenya.
The recommendation was that the accused person be given a non-custodial sentence. However, I quick to note that the report is not binding to this court.
His defense lawyers had prayed for a non-custodial sentence, but trial magistrate Ben Makehobi sentenced him to 3 years in prison with no option of a fine.
So I've considered all that. I've also considered that the accused person is a first offender. So I'll hereby sentence him to serve 3 years imprisonment.
Elsewhere, Milimani High Court has issued an injunction restraining businessman Cleophas Chimanyula from disseminating further defamatory words against Kalwale, his family and children. Justice Janet Mulu has further ordered the defamatory suit filed by Senator Boni Kalwale at Milimani against the businessman be transferred to Kakamega High Court. Yesterday, the senator filed a suit demanding a whopping 1.5 billion shillings as compensation arising from the defamation. And a man has been charged for masquerading as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Simon Githumbugwa is accused of writing a demand letter for Joseph Maina Mwangi as Winnie Ochoal advocates and commissioner for oaths.
On the issue of bail and bond, we ask the court to be guided by the bail and bond policy.
Pre-trial is set for 5th March 2024.
The accused may be released on bond of 100,000 shillings, eventually receipt of a single amount of cash bail of equivalent amount of 100,000 shillings.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
The Kenya National Union of Teachers now wants the management of teachers' pensions removed from Treasury. NAT Secretary General Collins Oyu, while appearing before the National Assembly Education Committee, called on lawmakers to amend the Teachers Service Commission Act to allow the commission to be in charge of disbursing pensions to retired teachers. The union also wants Parliament to revisit and consider a legislative proposal that seeks to have retired teachers retained on payroll until their pension they receive.
Teachers retire, having worked for Teacher Service Commission for about 35 years, and then they're handed over to the Pensions Department at the Treasury. Some of these teachers die before they even get their retirement benefits. So our proposal, Chair, is amendment of the Pensions Act, so that Teacher Service Commission, huge as it is, should be able to serve teachers and also pay their retirement benefits.
Make your own amendments, your own proposals on the various Teacher Service Commission Act. Make your own proposals on the Code of Regulations.
Teenage mothers in Malava and Shinyalu sub-counties in Kakamega County have benefited from a project dubbed Teenage Mother Support Group, formed by various partners through the Together Empowering Society to eliminate abuse of women as well as children. The project that seeks to reduce cases of teenage pregnancies in Kakamega County has seen the young mothers receive counseling and training also on basic life skills to enable them to cope with life after childbirth.
In the Teenage Mother Support Group project, teenage mothers accompanied by their mothers or any parent or guardian meet with a healthcare worker twice a month. During the meeting, the young mothers are trained and counseled with focus on strengthening them to cope with life and bond with their families. Esther Nanzala, a parent to a teenage mother, says her husband had disowned their daughter, but later had a change of heart.
Mtoto wangu alipata mimba kama ako form 1 akiwa na 16 years. Nilipitia challenges nyingi sana. Hata papa yake akakataa, sina acha na huyu mtoto. But kulingana na maoni vile alikuchanga hapa na kusoma, nikahoji mzee akakubali kumrudisha shule.
Hata mimi mwenyewe sikuwa najielewa vile naweza lea huyu mtoto wangu.
niliona kama amenikosea, kama amefanya jambo ambalo si la kawaida, lakini vile kikundi ilikuja ikaanza kuwafundisha na yeye mwenyewe akakuja nyumbani, akaanza kuniambia vile wamejifunza na vile tutakaa nao. Sasa niliona kama kikundi imesaidia.
Another girl from the area who got pregnant while in Form 3 says through support from the Teenage Mother Support Group, she has joined a polytechnic at Lubao to continue with her studies.
Nilikuwa na mimba, nipitia changamoto mingi kama vile wazazi wangu vile hawakuwa wananitaka nyumbani, lakini kwa kuja hapa na kujiunga na shirika lenu mmetupea advice nzuri.
A community health promoter at Imbiakalo Dispensary, Rahab Zipora Livui, says they have about 19 teenage mothers in the area who get support from the group.
Au wenye huwa wanakuja kwa hiki kikundi wako tofauti sana na wale wenye hawakuji. Juu sasa hawa naona sasa mienendo zao wamebadilisha.
The program is intended to ensure that their voice as young mothers is heard. At the same time, we want to ensure that we empower them either to go back to school or maybe to start small initiatives that can ensure them become self-sustainable.
The project, running in Malaba and Shinyalu sub-counties, was formed by various partners through the Together Empowering Society to Eliminate Abuse of Women and Children Tetea project. Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Prime Edition.
A family in Kabarnet, that's in Baringo County, is seeking answers following the sudden death of their kin in Ireland. 23-year-old Brigid Kelunyo, who was a student, was also working as a part-time nurse. She's reported to have informed her mother of threats from her Kenyan boyfriend before she was declared dead under unclear circumstances.
Barnet area in Baringo County, we catch up with 23-year-old Brigid Kelunyo's family. Their faces reflect the unanswered questions clouding their minds. They constantly go through their phone gallery to see Brigid's photos as they try to make sense of her untimely death. They recount their last moments with Brigid, who left the country in July 2023.
Dear Mama, I'm stressed. I asked her which type of stress. She told me I can help. She told me no. Mama, it is not money. I'm stressed. My guy locked me inside the house. Alikuwa amenitishia maisha. Kanishikia kisu mara mbili. But mama kama hakunitunga jana, sasa kama atanitunga leo. Mama, how handle it? Nikamwambia yeye can you call the authorities? Kaniambia nimempigia. Wanakuja.
She says that efforts to seek help from authorities abroad were futile.
From there, I don't know what happened until her death. But before that, she was saying she's supposed even to go to job, but she's inside the house. She cannot come out. So if there is any way, government can help me to get the justice of my girl, I think my heart will be better.
The family is now forced to travel abroad to get concrete answers, even as they have disputed reports of self-harm doing rounds on social media.
Niko na confidence kwa my sister cannot commit suicide. Mimi tunamjua sana. Yeye ashapitia challenges mingi. And I know at hizi kidogo anaweza overcome. Si kitu inapush yeye. Financial alikuwa sawa hakucomplain. We are seeking the government kama wanaweza ingililia tujue tu ukweli what really happened. Tujue the real thing. At least unajua ukijua ukweli hata roho yako itatulia.
Once we arrive in Ireland, we shall give you the feedback about this thing. Please allow us to mourn allow us to mourn. Please don't add us more burden of speculating things.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Well, a family has turned to KBC to help widen search for their missing loved one. That story and more coming up when we return from this short break. Stay with us.
Shambani mbili,
yako ni gani kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi. Dial star 570 hash. Title deed ndio hii. Fuka na shake.
Welcome to Sensei Institute. Mahali skills zangu ni pesa mkononi. At Sensei College, practical skills is the definition. Accredited by the government and founded on a Christian background, Sensei College offers all-rounded programs that are tailor-made to enhance your skills and give you the future you desire. We offer courses such as interior design, fashion and design, hairdressing and beauty, hospitality courses, trailer driving and defensive driving, building construction technology, CCTV, solar and electrical installation, photography and video production, electronic courses, vehicle electronics and mechanic courses, agricultural mechanics, ICT, and many more. To enroll in any of our campuses in Nairobi and Nakuru, all you need is your national ID card. Mapema ndo best. Take advantage of our monthly intake. Come to kusort na skills. Sensei College, my skills, my future.
You don't know what you just did, Alonso.
I heard this peasant when he was saying very clearly that it was hard to forget what happened between the two of you. Nothing happened or nothing will ever happen.
This is Melena's earring, and you will explain to me what the heck Melena's earring is doing in your house and exactly how it got here. Can't I go out to the garden?
I didn't say that.
They made you believe something that wasn't true to hurt me. Let me take a wild guess who did it. Fabiola.
Welcome back, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Now, our family has turned to KBC to help widen the search for their missing loved one 1 week after he disappeared. 52-year-old Kenneth Njoroge, who's mentally ill, went missing on the 15th of February 2024. His sister says that he was last seen in Buruburu area in Nairobi, and attempts to trace his whereabouts have not borne fruits. And therefore, anyone with information should report to the nearest police station or even call those numbers that are on your screen, 0720 701 360 or 072 072 8877.
We left on Thursday with a big bag full of books, but again on Friday we was seen somewhere around Mormon Church, actually in the Buruburu. When we went to check, he said he was there, but with one shoe, a leather jacket that was full of dust, and then also he was not himself because he's sick. He suffers from a condition known as schizophrenia, which is a mental disability. So most of the time, you'll find people with schizophrenia will talk things that are not there. You know, he was saying that he's being followed, but those things are not there. So he just went.
Health workers from Busia County have threatened to down their tools by Tuesday midnight after the county government failed to address their grievances. Led by the Busia Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dental Union Secretary General James Emusuguti, the health workers further vowed to sue the county for allegedly not remitting their statutory deductions. These and more in our county wrap.
Speaking at the Busia County Referral Hospital, the health workers were said to down their tools by midnight, decried being taken for granted by the county government, despite giving a 14-day ultimatum for their grievances to be addressed.
Wale ambao wako na ugonjwa wa hospitali, ikifikia Jumatano kama serikali hajafanya lolote, hakutakuwa na huduma. So isiwe sisi tuwapenda kwenda mgomo, sio hivyo. Ni serikali ndiko na utepetevu.
We have for a very long time been having unfair treatment from the county government. Our statutory deductions are being deducted from our salaries, but they're not being remitted.
It is not prudent for one to be going to work and he is not in the right state of mind.
Meanwhile, the Aga Khan group of hospitals will partner with the government in training community health promoters as part of the hospital's initiative to cascade healthcare services to local communities. Its Kisumu facility is being expanded from 70-bed capacity to 123.
We are going to partner with the counties that we work in training these community health promoters.
So I want to put across that we are a network from grassroots to tertiary care.
Elsewhere, residents of Suna West Migori County have raised concerns over heightened insecurity in the area, accusing the police of lethargy.
Juzi tumepoteza kijana moja hapo total, haijachukua muda tangu tupoteze hata masojas watatu. So swali yangu kuu nataka niulize idara ya usalama, wanataka watupoteze watu wangapi ndio wachukue jukumu?
Tunafanya county commissioner aangalie kati wenye wanaweza pewa transfer waende.
Kakamega County government has threatened to send auctioneers to recover 16 million shillings owed to it by Mumias Sugar Company and 5 million shillings from the police, among other government institutions.
Mumias Sugar Company tunawadai 12 million. Polisi vile vile, so tumewaandikia barua na tunatuma auctioneer kutusaidia kucollect pesa zetu.
Elsewhere, hundreds of irate residents of Lioki village have protested over the poor state of a 7-kilometer road in the area that they say has for years been a campaign topic by politicians to no avail.
Mpaka wagonjwa, kuna mama mwingine alipata mtoto pale chini, pale kwa barabara hapa juu. Gari ilikataa kufika nyumbani.
Hata kwa saa hii naumia mwili juu nimeanguka na ninaambiwa nimembeba mapacha. Sasa nasidio nitaenda kujifungua anje.
We will be doing this every Tuesday. Yes. And today it was just a starting point.
Hakuna rami. Unafika unashindwa sasa utaenda wapi?
In Makueni, residents have demanded decentralized public participation in villages to avoid the inconvenience of long travels.
Tunatuma kilio chetu kwa governor in the next hearing, kama anatusikiza alete huko village ndio kila mwananchi yeyote yule aweze kuchangia na kupeana maoni yake.
And a section of civil societies has opposed the use of public funds in lobbying for opposition leader Raila Odinga's bid for Africa Union Commission chairperson seat. Members of Bunge la Mwananchi also asked the government to ensure the attainment of civil rights for every Kenyan.
Haufai utumie mali ya jamii, public funds, to support or to finance the bid of an individual.
Finally, representatives of the Salvation Army, General Lindo Buckingham and Commissioner Browning Buckingham, have landed in the country on a series of engagements aimed at bolstering goodwill and enhancing partnerships within the region ahead of the centenary celebrations of the church in Kenya. The duo was welcomed by Colonel Daniel Kiama, the territorial commander, and other Salvation Army leaders.
Friends, we thank God that the day has come. We've been announcing to you 20th of February 2024, the General and the World President Women Ministry have arrived.
Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one? And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani.
Sisi wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow.
We are the full package.
Oh yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Haya, hii ya kungoja kwenye star 570 hash kuna ploti na ni up to 1.1 million Kenyan shillings with a genuine title deed na inakungoja star 570 hash ukana shake.
Dad asked me why Nora's wrists were both bandaged. What did you tell him? The truth. I thought you were not getting here in time. In time for what? To run into Marcelo. You need to tell him all the things that you told me yesterday in your house.
Just what do you have to tell me?
I'm going to tell Marcelo how his father died. Then we will see who ends up thrown out and despised. We'll find out. Because I'm not going to put up with being watched, much less being judged.
Good evening. Thank you for watching Prime Edition. My name is Betty Kiptum. Let's get into the business world. Members of Parliament want the stock of public debt audited so that the public is informed about the actual amount that Kenya owes. They are concerned that since the country has dollar and Kenya shilling denominated debts, it is hard to pinpoint the actual public debt figure.
Kenya's reliance on Eurobonds has raised concern about debt sustainability. There is heightened vulnerability in 2024, which coincides with the Eurobonds maturities, where Eurobonds offer access to funds for development projects. Managing repayments obligations remains a crucial challenge.
When are we going to come out of this debt hole? Because it's going deeper every now and then with very expensive Eurobond coupons, a rate of 10.5. And we are talking about debt sustainability.
Recent past, we've seen serious appreciation, so drastic appreciation of Kenya shilling. Yet we still continue putting our debt in terms of Kenya shilling. I don't know whether it has bothered you that the figures that are always reported are not correct. They cannot be accurate, they cannot be relied on as to how much we owe as at the time you're doing your audit.
Can the Auditor General comment on the effect of the latest Eurobond and how also we saw the dollar, or rather the shilling strengthened against the dollar?
In our view, we think that the issue can only be sorted out if a raft of issues, for instance, increased exports and also general economic, development. I think those are those are some of the issues.
And the multi-billion shilling grain suit pitting Ata Kenya Limited and Grain Bulk Handlers Limited entered home stretch today with two more defendant witnesses taking to the stand. The two witnesses were at pains to explain who authorized the disposal of 29,500 metric tons of wheat belonging to Ata Kenya Limited. The plaintiff, Ata Kenya Limited, wants the court to declare the sale of the wheat illegal and surcharge the Grain Bulk Handlers Limited Commissioner of Customs and Border Control, Beyond Auctioneers, Grain Industries Limited and Olo, and Charter Advocates.
According to court documents, the plaintiff, Ata Kenya Limited, entered into an agreement with Louis Dreyfus Company Limited for the purchase of 38,500 metric tons of milling wheat. 29,500 metric tons was to be delivered to Ata Kenya Limited, where the payment for the shipment was done in June 2014 to LDCL, totaling to $7.565 million. However, the plaintiff fell behind in paying the required customs duty and storage fees owed to the Commissioner, Customs and Border Control, and the second defendant, Grain Bulk Handlers. As the matter was under review by all parties, Ata Kenya Limited received a letter that the consignment had been sold by Beyond Auctioneers to Grain Industries Limited at a total cost of 217.48 million shillings, way below the market value of 730.3 million shillings. Appearing before the High Court Judge Florence Masharia today, two defendant witnesses were at pains to explain how the auction price was arrived at and who authorized the sale of the milling wheat. The cross-examination was being done by Ata Limited lawyer Mila Bwire, who needed answers to what exactly transpired during the receivership of the wheat consignment to its sale.
Do we have anything then before court that can be able to link ownership of importation of wheat at the second defendant's establishment to the fourth defendant, Anna Kiranman?
In this case, no.
No. Thank you. Oh, lastly, I'm reminded, also confirmed, there's also no bill of lading, correct? Bill of lading of the fourth defendant through Kiranman. Is there?
Not aware.
No, thank you.
The case continues on the 14th of March, where the cross-examination of the last defendant witness will take place. For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Buru.
And low budget absorption rates continue to stalk the government, with development vote lagging a recurrent budget. The Controller of Budget report for the first half of 2023-2024 fiscal year shows the government only spent a quarter of the development budget in the period between July and December. In the period under consideration, the government spent a total of 1.64 trillion shillings, which is 36.1% of the revised gross budget estimates of 4.5 trillion shillings.
According to the report, the education sector was the biggest spender, with 308.2 billion shillings already disbursed out of its total allocation of 690 billion shillings. In the period under review, the Exchequer released 142 billion shillings to the counties. In the 6 months to December 2023, ministries and departments sought additional funds totaling 51 billion shillings. These includes 500 million shillings for the purchase of e-passport booklets, 1.5 billion shillings for the KICC facelift, 660 billion to cater for settlement of Mau Forest evictees, as well as 700 million shillings for the construction of a modern presidential dais at the State House Gardens. However, only 3.3 billion shillings was disbursed, piling pressure on the pending bills owed to contractors. The stock of public debt increased by 8.4% to 10.28 trillion shillings as of June 2023 to 11.14 trillion as of December 31st, 2023. This was driven by a spike in the portfolio of external debt, which accelerated by 11.8% on account of a weak shilling. The government disbursed a total of 598 billion shillings towards public debt. External debt servicing amounted to 238 billion shillings, while domestic debt repayment was recorded at 360 billion shillings. The Office of the Controller of Budget is advocating for the timely release of exchequer funds and strict compliance with the set public debt ceiling to curb further growth in public debt. Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
Kenya Power hopes installation of smart meters and hybrid systems would help cut commercial losses and save on operational costs. Kenya Power Managing Director Joseph Siror says the utility firm has installed 67,000 smart meters at business premises that are as MSMEs.
Kenya's electricity network installed capacity has grown over the years to reach 3,246 megawatts, with a consistent peak demand and total sales rising by 92 megawatts in the last 1 year. The expanded network and customer base of about 9.53 million homes has, however, come with challenges such as illegal consumption, theft by direct hooking and defective meters leading to commercial losses. To cut on the losses, Kenya Power has installed 67,000 smart meters in business premises that has seen annual sales grow by 397 million shillings.
And the main aim of Kenya Power, in fact, going forward really, is to have smart meters for all customers. Indeed, as a strategic direction, going forward, we committed to go in the path of smart meters.
Ciro says Kenya Power has surpassed its connectivity target for the half-year period ending December 2023 by 13.87%, having connected 256,200 new customers to the grid against a target of 225,000 customers. On interventions to stabilize the grid, the company is looking into integration of solar and wind hybrid systems, termination of 220 kilovolts all-carrier-Lesoski Boss Line 2 at Leses to support voltage stabilization and additional transformation capacity to relieve the Kisumu-Muhoroni 132 kilovolts line, which has previously been blamed for nationwide blackouts, and construction of Narok-Bomet line in 11 months to offload the Muhoroni-Chemosit Kisumu-Muhoroni route.
Lifeline maintenance is one of the things that we are really promoting, and this entails being able to undertake whatever maintenance is required without necessarily interfering with power supply.
The company targets to connect 400,000 new customers to the national grid by the end of the current financial year. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
And that is the business news this evening. Daniel Wahome is standing by to bring you the latest in sports. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Shamba ni mbili, yako ni gani? Kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw, ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi. Dial star 570 hash. Title deed ndio hii. Fuka na shake.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. The 20th edition of the Soy Awards received a sponsorship boost of 6 million Kenya shillings from different partners ahead of the awards gala, slated for the 1st of March at the Kenya International Convention Center. The awards were initially set to be held on the 23rd of February but were postponed following the tragic demise of the late world marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum, who is among the shortlisted nominees.
It is my great honor to announce Faith Kipyegon Athletics.
This year's edition marks 20 years since legendary distance runner Paul Tergat conceived the noble idea of paying homage and recognizing the country's top performing sports personalities across all disciplines.
In 20 years, we started as a small get-together those days. Very few categories. But you look now, we are up in 11 categories from about 4. How many? 4. Those days.
The theme of this year's Soya celebration, that has 11 categories, is celebrating sports excellence, which resonates well with the milestone the country's sportsmen and women have achieved over the decades.
We are happy that things have changed. And to me, my satisfaction and excitement is to see that we put our sportsmen at the center every day of what we do. as our greatest assets that we have as a nation.
Among the sponsors who have come on board to support the 2023 Soy Awards are the National Social Security Fund, NSSF, Communication Authority of Kenya, CA, Kenya Pipeline Company, KPC, Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, and Kenya Academy of Sport. The awards were initially set to be held on 23rd of February, but were postponed following the tragic demise of the late world marathon record holder Kevin Kiptum, who is among the shortlisted nominees.
Now, Kenya Breweries Limited has announced a 34 million shilling sponsorship boost for the 2024 Magical Kenya Open, renewing its long-standing partnership with the tournament. This year, the event will be held from the 22nd to the 25th of February at the Power 71 Mboya Golf Club, with a Pro-Am tournament preceding it on the 21st of February.
The sponsorship package will support the tournament organizers, the Kenya Open Golf Limited, to meet their obligations around event organization and the prize money. Additionally, EABL will sponsor 3 Kenyan pro golfers participating in the tournament: Dismas Indiza, Samuel Njoroge, and Daniel Nduva.
So on the 4 players, we're going to be offering them some technical and financial support to be able to participate in the Open, so that they are not lacking in any financial way that they require to perform well in the tournament.
Something that's very unique with EABL is that they're also going to look at local artists, making sure that we have our local artists being portrayed, and you also promote local artists in Kenya.
144 elite golfers from Kenya and around the world will battle for 360 million shillings prize purse. The Kenyan contingent at the tournament will comprise of Dismas Indiza, Grius Snow, Mike Krisia, Mohit Medirata, Samuel Njoroge, Daniel Nduva, Justus Madoya, Mutahi Kibugu, and Njoroge Kibugu.
The journey has not been easy. There has been up and down. Qualifying to Kenya Open is not easy because we are qualifying for 6 events and we're about 100 plus. So to make it here is a lot of hard work, dedication.
This year, to be honest, the first thing I want to make is the cut. That's the hard part. Once we make the cut, I feel like we can try go a bit lower into the top 20 or even out the top 10. So my first goal is just to make the cut this year.
The 9 were picked from Safari Tour Order of Merit, where the top 8 locals and 2 best regional players made slot for Magical Kenya Open. The event will be held.
Now, the inaugural Nyanza High School's Basketball Festival will start from the 2nd to the 3rd of March this year in Nyanza region. The 2-day tournament, which is organized by the Eliud Owalo Foundation, will see 26 schools, both boys and girls, from Migori, Homa Bay, Nyamira, Siaya, Kisii, and Kisumu counties taking part. In some of the opening boys matches, Migori boys will take on Kanyawanga boys. Powerhouse Agoro Sare will lock horns with Ototo boys, while the girls category, Nyakach girls, will take on Kisumu girls. Maseno School will host the opening match, while Kenyatta Sports Ground will host the closing ceremony. Other venues include the Kisumu girls and Kisumu boys high schools. Now, Everton manager Sean Dyche wants a speedier verdict on their appeal against the 10-point deduction after they boosted their English Premier League survival hopes with a late draw against Crystal Palace last night. Dyche spoke out after his side climbed out of the relegation zone with a point secured by Amadou Onana's 84th minute header.
Mateta. Jordan Ayew goes for goal. Oh! And how? In some style too.
And the Formula One preseason test in Bahrain kicks off this week and will offer the first glimpse into whether Red Bull's competitors have managed to close the performance gap over the winter. The reigning champions won all but one of 2023's races in one of the most dominant seasons in the sport's history.
The rolling start. And it doesn't look a bit like a race, doesn't it?
Each of the 10 teams will put their new car through its paces across a 3-day test in Bahrain starting on Wednesday. The test is particularly important for Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes and Aston Martin, who look to set themselves as Red Bull's closest title challenger. Over the past 2 seasons, most teams have been developing their cars to more mimic Red Bull's design, but their 2024 challenger has some surprisingly new and radical features. In fact, at the team's launch last week, the car appears to have taken much inspiration from the 2023 Mercedes, notably with the side pods and engine cover. This has come as a surprise to many, especially to Mercedes, who ditched the main features that Red Bull has copied for this year. Red Bull are expected to start the season as favourites, with McLaren team principal Andrea Stella doubtful that anyone will put up a season-long challenge to the reigning champions until the next regulation change. The F1 world is yet to see whether Red Bull's aggressive approach to this year's car will pay off, or if they have made some costly mistakes that will bring another team to the forefront. For Prime Edition, I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
And that's the sport for tonight. My name is Daniel Homer. Thank you for being with us. Let's join you tomorrow bright and early at 9 p.m. for Prime Edition. Over to you, Mboya.
Many thanks indeed, Daniel Wahome. And of course, earlier on, Betty Kiptum was here, our sign language interpreter, Brian Mararu. I want to thank you all for watching. My name is Mboya. I've got to go now. But before we leave, his talent and love for music saw him recruited into the military in 1980, many years back, after completing his Certificate of Primary Education, CPE. Retired Warrant Officer 2, James Likembe, served in the Kenya Army Wing of Kenya Defense for 29 years as a logistic officer and still performed as an artist in the Army. We leave you with this week's episode of Military Tales. Good night and God bless you.
In this week's episode of Military Tales, we travel to the lakeside city of Kisumu. Here we meet one Kenya Defence Forces veteran, retired Warrant Officer 2 James Milulu Likembe, alias Jim Likembe. Likembe's life journey started in Kisumu in 1954, where he was born and raised and also attended his early education.
My official name is James Likembe Milulu. But Jim, I'm a musician, so this name was shortened by my fans. So I started using Jim Likembe. I was born on 7th July 1954. And started school, I can't really say when, but I did my CPE in 1973. And I joined Jabondo High School. Even when I was in primary school, I was a musician. I had my guitar. During preps, when the teacher is not there, education is zero. Now it is me entertaining them.
Likembe's love for music and the guitar started when he was a young boy, and this love would play a key role in him joining the Kenya Army in 1980.
There was this military band from Gilgil called Blue Rangers. The Blue Rangers were having some concerts in Kisumu, and we knew each other because we used to meet in the showgrounds like Kendu Bay, Kisumu, Migori. So a gentleman called Maningi, who was the band leader, spotted me in the street and he called me. Nataka uje uingie muziki. Hapa sasa utakuwa unapata mshahara na utakuwa unaandikwa na serikali. Hutakuwa unangojea allowance peke yake. And that is the way he took me to the recruiting officer. I was recruited without even my CP certificate, of which I later went with it when I went to report for training.
During recruitment, Likembe had not completed his secondary education, which he would later do while he was in the military.
By 1984, I went to Langata to start Form 1. There is a school called AFSHE, Armed Forces School of Higher Education. Until 87, I did my Form 4.
After a rigorous military training, he was posted to the Kahawa Barracks. He would later study storekeeping in the military and rose to head Group 2B store at the barracks.
From there, I went back to the classes of storekeeping until I completed. I rose through the ranks until I came to retire as a Warrant Officer 2 in the year 2009.
Likembe would continue with his first love, music, in the military, and even recorded music with Benga maestro, the late George Ramogi of CK Dumbe Dumbe Band.
When we go for the morning runs, najifanya ni kama naimba msia anaitwa Tekla. Tekla mtoto mzuri, Tekla matajiri wote, Tekla wanakutaka, baby nikufiche wapi, Tekla general yangu, Tekla pia anakutafuta, mama usimjali, mimi ndio wako, Tekla macho gololi, na wanajibu kinawela. I joined George Ramogi's band, that is CK Jazz, of which we came to rename it CK Dumbe Dumbe. I played music with George Ramogi until his death. Even when I was in the military, we were still together.
As a warrant officer too, Likembe outlines his work in the logistic unit of Kahawa Barracks, where he was attached for some years.
And when I was in Kahawa, I was there in charge of a store called Group 2B. That is for the assorted, all the military motor vehicles, spares.
Having served the military as a young man for decades, Likembe has a word of advice to young serving soldiers on duty and off duty.
One, you must be disciplined, and you must like your job. You must be somebody straightforward.
He is happy and glad with the changes in the welfare the soldiers are now enjoying from the force.
We have a medical scheme called DEFMIS, Defense Forces Military Insurance. Military wanted us when we come out from there, we should have a good life.
He notes that one of the greatest lessons he learned in the military that he still holds to date is brotherhood, unity, and teamwork.
If you want to know the people wale wanapendana ni jeshi. When you are hit and you are down, utashangaa nani atakuja, watu watangangania. Alafu sasa wale wengine wanakugard sasa. Wanaangalia wakati unapelekwa huko, hiyo risasi ilitoka wapi?
Likembe retired in the year 2009. Now turning 70, he is a farmer and is very active in music and still composes and performs in numerous functions.
Muziki bado tunachapa. Hiyo naye haina retirement. Mimi ni mtu secular. Mimi rumba and benga. Ohangla no. Ohangla ni ya watoto wa jana. Umri yenu ndio watu ya Ohangla.
The father of 7 has won numerous accolades in the service and in music.
There is a medal in the military called Long Service and Good Conduct. I got it. That is one that can make somebody be remembered, because that means you never committed any offense. You were never charged in the military for any offense. Wow. And after that, you get a kaboom from Serikali.
Other than music, he enjoys spending time with friends and mentoring young musicians.
I have a band called Metro Dumbe Dumbe. I have my friend called Tom Cordio.
In his parting shot, Likembe urges parents to nurture the talents of their children.
Let us set our children free to do what they feel is good for them, and especially music. Music today is a job like any other. Advice yeye ajiheshimu, and especially girls. Ajiheshimu.
For military tales,
vijana wajue kuna kesho kwa kila kitu.
I'm Bentro Njua.
To get past pain as your skiza tune, dial *812 *502#.
You don't have to carry your past pain into your present. Your generation doesn't have to go through the pain you went through. You have what it takes to bring a new life, a new breath, a new atmosphere, a new name into your generation. Don't just sit and watch a repeated pain.
To get past pain, dial *812 *502#. *812 *502#.
Haya, hisi ya kungoja kwenye *570# kuna ploti na ni up to 1.1 million Kenyan shillings with a genuine title deed na inakungoja *570#. Ukana shake.
The king in the land of This February, precious moments with Channel One entail endless hours of warm sentiments.
I really love you.
Oh, Lord. Joy.
Did you get the job, Letty?
Romance. Oh, babe. Affection. Passion.
Na hisia zinasobobojeka moyoni mwangu.
Family. Who are those flowers for? Oh, I'm sure they're for Lucia. Fulfillment.
This is so sweet. That's the start.
An array of programs specially selected for you to give you and your loved ones the cozy feeling of being at home.
Impressive.
Baby, let me tell you.
The treat is on us.
Are you serious?
Just give us a chance. Make a date with KBC Channel 1 in the month of love.